Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day. One of the things I want to just talk about today briefly is, and I'll try and keep it short, is that the physical changes that happen, inside and out, and it's quite actually remarkable how good you'll start feeling um, after. Well, first of all, in the first couple of days, if you're a heavy drinker, I was more of your kind of UK quintessential drinker, I guess, binge drinker. I'd kind of binge drinked up until I was about 33, and then I quit for 5 years, and then started drinking again. Thought I would moderate for a while and etc. But you just fall back into bad habits, and I'm back now, alcohol free, thankfully, and just absolutely loving it. The benefits are endless, and the physical changes will happen pretty quickly, and to a different extent. The first week, of course, once you get that first weekend out the way, it's just pretty remarkable. You generally feel like you feel 100 times better, but it's pretty amazing after 1 month, and then after 3 months, and then after a year, how well you can feel. And I think your brain definitely needs to rewire, and I think your body as well is used to all your kind of liver functions, etc., and kidney functions are used to taking a hammer in at the weekend, sometimes during the week, and I think that has to adapt as well. I think there's a common misconception that you'll be running a marathon after a week, but sometimes, but like I say, the instant change is amazing, and then the long term change, it truly gets better. And I actually remember that from being I remember the first month I'd ever done, and thought that's pretty incredible. And I had done like sober Octobers and dry Januaries, etc. And I was like, oh, this was my fourth weekend of not drinking. I couldn't believe it. But I remember after the third month around there, just thinking, this is just amazing. So, but I think that with regards to the physical changes, you can expect. The first one I noticed was my skin. Uh, it was just an absolute complete change, and I remember before, especially after a heavy weekend, I'd always get a bit of dry skin and bags under the eyes, and I'm pretty sure you could tell that I had a heavy weekend when I was going into work. And I remember a few times back in my younger days where people would mention, like you having mad weekends, like just people I knew and got to know a bit better, and they maybe slept. Oh, you always look a bit rough on the Monday, and the bloodshot eyes as well, and it's actually one of the reasons I quit. People might call it a bit of vanity, but nobody really wants to look in the mirror and think, you know, God, you look terrible. And that's what I was feeling in the end. You know, and it would happen a couple of times a week, especially on the Mondays, and maybe when I had to go into the office as well, and that was a Tuesday, and I was just thinking, oh, this is just not good. But I mean, I think about for me, everyone's different, of course. About a month in, you just really start to notice the difference. The bags start to go because you're having a great sleep all the time. You don't get the bloodshot eyes. I used to actually buy this eye whitener liquid you could put in your eyes, which just sounds ridiculous when you think of it, but it did do a bit of a job. Your eyes kind of go whiter, the color in your eyes come back as well, which is pretty remarkable. And your skin just in general looks beautiful. Maybe beautiful is the wrong word, but it just looks 1,000 times better. And like I say, it is a great feeling. The second time I went alcohol free, it took me about 6 weeks, I think, to kind of finally look and think, you do look 100 times better. I think, like I say, it's just the color in your eyes, etc. And a good friend of mine who lives in Dubai. He quit drinking. I remember he sent me a picture. He was on holiday in Thailand, I think, and he sent me a picture. He was just in the ocean and kind of just taking a selfie, and he sent a few, like a 12 pictures on. I just asked him how his holiday was doing, and I just remember looking at him thinking as well, you look 1,000 times better. Just the color in his eyes, no bags. His beard looked healthy, his hair looked healthy. He'd lost weight. He didn't have that puffiness as well. I used to hate the puffiness in the face. And it's not until I think you stop drinking where you really notice it on other people, just that extra puffiness in the face that kind of goes. And I don't know, you kind of can see your cheekbones, I guess. But like I say, skin changes is a really big one. And a second change is just your hair and your beard. I remember two things actually. The first one was my hairdresser when I used to live down in Manchester in England, and she just kind of commented how nice my kind of hair felt. And um, I always kind of just got dry skin in my hair, and just that it was just an issue. I think, and it was just always with to do with kind of drinking at the weekend. It just dries out your body. I'm not a doctor or a medical expert, of course. But it just used to kind of my hair was kind of just dry, and also my beard. And she used to always comment, that was maybe a good couple of years in, I'm doing, it's just, your hair just feels really healthy. And, you take any compliment, I guess. And I remember as well with my beard, I was in my flat in Edinburgh. I was quite a small flat at the time. And I remember looking in the mirror maybe 3 months in. I think I just got a haircut. And I remember going home and trimming my beard, just with, one of those kind of £10 kind of things you put a guard on. And I just remember looking at my beard and touching it and thinking, it just feels so much healthier. And like I say, it's not like a vanity thing or anything. I'm not like that at all. It just genuinely felt like, 'cause sometimes I'd get kind of dry skin in between here, and there'd sometimes be dry skin like up there because I'd, been binge drinking at the weekend. And that was all gone. And that kind of maybe combined in just with the skin feeling a bit healthier was amazing. And it just really is a kind of big positive as well. Because like I say, you kind of, especially when you're kind of on top of the game and you've got everything sorted after you kind of stop boozing, and you're kind of like say on the game full of beans, and you just feel like you look healthy. And I think that's what everyone wants these days, just to kind of look good, because there's nothing worse than looking in the, and like I say, I used to hate it, looking in the mirror and seeing the bags under the eyes was the worst. And sometimes when you've not had good sleep and you've had a heavy weekend, it's just you just a not a nice look. But the third one is body changes. And for this one, the second time I've been alcohol free. I've actually not been back to the gym. I've just been walking a lot, and it's just amazing. Even just walking more, the amount of just that extra weight you lose. I was never really heavy. I think I've just got a naturally high metabolism, which is a good gift to have. But I know for a fact I needed to lose a tiny bit of weight. And of course, it was the puffiness was there as well. But I definitely needed to lose some weight. And it just kind of naturally went. I'm walking a lot more, and I'm not forcing myself to walk. You just have the energy now. And maybe if you're working from home, or you've been home for 4, 5, 6 hours, you just kind of are itching to get outside and get in the fresh air, and you just naturally lose that. And funnily enough, I eat a lot more, but since I'm not eating like pizzas and Uber Eats and Deliveroos, the home deliveries, you I can actually eat more, but I seem to be perfectly in control of my weight. It's kind of really strange. I was thinking a few times, why, I feel I'm eating every 2, 3 hours, and I'm eating like a decent, a decent meal. But still, you're not getting it. But like I say, it's probably because these pizzas are 3 times more calories. So one pizza is probably the equivalent to two or three of the meals I'm having at the moment. And like I say, that weight loss, uh, even if I think if you don't go to the gym, I think you'll just naturally uh, end up losing the excess weight. And it's a big plus of it is the like I say the extra energy you have as well. And I think I remember when I went to the gym before, which I think I'll probably take up soon now that the dark nights are coming. You just have a proper session. I used to go there and I would do maybe 5 different exercises, maybe kid myself on. I had a really good session, and then it wasn't until I went alcohol free and I went to the gym where I could do 7 or 8 exercises, and I'd maybe do 3 sets of 10, and you're really, really pumping every set. You're maxing out. And if you went on the treadmill or the bike, you're really, really kind of like smashing it, to be honest. It's like no other way of putting it. You end up, before when I was maybe going on, if I'd been out at the weekend and I was going to the gym, I would maybe kind of slow down the bike a few times, slow down the treadmill, and but then now, since you're kind of full of energy, full of beans, as we say, it's you're going there and you're maybe even speeding it up that last 2 minutes. You're sprinting just to get that final, like, maxing out, and doing that every single session, even if you're going 2, 3 times a week, is so much better than going there 5 days a week and you're kind of pretending that you're doing stuff. So, like I say, loads more benefits. I've got some other videos about them if you want to listen to them, but like I say, just those physical changes are just something that'll come your way. And if you are on your journey and it's quite early stages, I think they'll get even better. Just takes a bit of time. But please like and subscribe if you like the video. And I'm releasing daily videos at the moment, so hopefully enjoy this one and enjoy a few others. Thanks. Bye.